Strategist Chip Saltzman, acting politics editor for Roll Call Shira Toeplitz, the chairman of Stop Handgun Violence John Rosenthal, and MSNBC and Washington Post opinion writer Jonathan Capehart. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks, Tamron.
Chip, let me start off with you. What is your reaction? The NRA putting, I guess, what it sees as its best offer on the table, which includes allowing staff at schools to carry sidearms, shotguns, and even AR-15s. Is that something you wanted to hear today?
Well, it's interesting, when I listened to that press conference earlier today, here in Tennessee we actually have something called resource officers that school districts can make those decisions within the school district. If they want an armed security guard at the school, if they want a metal detector at the school, they can make those decisions. So if this is something that the federal government does, I hope that they'll look at a model that we've done in Tennessee and let the school districts decide what best fits their model to protect their kids the best.
AR-15s, does that fit the model in your opinion?
If that's what they want to do, that's what the school district should use. I think any way we can protect our kids is the best option forward.
John, here we are, and we're going to talk about this Washington Post article in a second, but the bottom line, they say that because of the NRA's lobbying and their power that Mayor Bloomberg doubted and many others have doubted, that right now legislation, including a universal background check, has been stalled. What's your reaction?
It's just discouraging and disgusting that the unregulated gun industry can literally buy Congress and intimidate Democrats and own Republicans so that a background check for criminals is considered a hard vote. And, you know, the ammunition clips greater than 10 rounds, that's the common denominator in every mass shooting. We give police officers 13 to 17 rounds. Duck hunters are limited to 3 rounds to protect ducks. And Congress is saying that it's okay for 30 and 100-round clips to kill people. We don't need to be arming schools. We need common sense requiring accountability on the part of everyone to undergo a background check and then give police the resources and school districts the resources to do what they want. But there were 2 armed guards at Columbine High School outgunned by teenagers with assault weapons. And
John, you've brought that up. We've brought that up on the show before. And Chip, I'll give you an opportunity, and we're going to bring everyone else in. But there were armed guards at Columbine. They were on break. We also know, I'll bring it to the Texas DA. We're still working to get details there. But we know that that DA in Kaufman County walked his dog with a gun. And today, he and his wife are being remembered because they've lost their lives because the gun was not handy at the time.
Yeah, and there's no system that's perfect. There's no system that's going to protect everything. And look, I don't know about the rest of the panel. I've gone through several background checks when I bought a gun. They're pretty easy. They're pretty simple. I'm okay with background checks when you're buying a gun. But look, criminals don't do background checks. Criminals aren't going to say, oh, I'm only going to have a 10-round limit. They're going to get whatever they can get their hands on, which, as we know, guns are everywhere. You can get clips. You can use those clips, and criminals are not going to use the background check.
We do know that there are straw purchases. That they might even go to a private dealer who does not have to go through a universal background check. So to your point, they're not going to walk into a gun shop. I'm from Texas. There's one a few miles from my family's home, so I understand what you're saying. But they will go to an individual who is selling a gun through a private home and not have to go through a background check. Why not create something that prevents that?
Well, I would go after those criminals and greater sentencing for those people that are the straw people that are selling those guns. Those are the folks you really have to stop. Put a deterrent on those folks for using those guns, but that's not what we're doing. We're putting the onus on the honest people that go and buy a gun legally. It's longer registration, it's longer background checks, and I'm just not sure a background check, what are we going to put in that background check? Who are we going to do? Look, if you could put, you know, the magic wand and say this is going to make sure we never have another shooting in school, everybody would be for it. I'm just not sure.
It's
not a realistic conversation,
yeah.
And I'm not sure a background check is going to solve all these problems either.
Jonathan, let me bring you in. The Washington Post for Philip Rucker and Ed O'Keefe has this article about the lobbying efforts. It says gun control measures that seem destined to become law after the school shootings in Newtown are in jeopardy amid a fierce lobbying campaign by firearms advocates. Key senators have been unable to find a workable plan for near universal background checks on gun purchases. Another provision that garnered bipartisan support, making gun trafficking a federal crime, could be gutted if Republican lawmakers accept new language being circulated by the National Rifle Association. The bottom line, this report is saying the National Rifle Association is alive, it is well, and it is powerful, despite what Mayor Bloomberg and others have said here. You, though, have an article where you believe the president has not been backed up, if you will. You ask in your article, where is the president's backup?
Right. I mean, the president has done about as much as he can do without congressional authority. There was the vice president's task force. They came up with a bunch of recommendations. The president has given speech after speech after speech, some of the most emotional and personal of his second term. He's going to Colorado tomorrow to speak at a police academy, still pushing this agenda, and yet we've seen polls that show that support for anti-gun violence measures is diminishing.
Down 10%.
Yeah, down 10%. And so where are the people who are flooding the Capitol with demonstrations, flooding the halls of the congressional office buildings, going to meet with members of Congress to urge them to...
John, that's what your organization is supposed to be doing. Stop Handgun Violence. You are the folks who said you would flood in and you would overwhelm the NRA. Answer Jonathan's question, where is that groundswell?
Well, there's an awful lot going on right now. I mean, last week there were 100 demonstrations in one single day organized by Organizing for Action. Members are in their districts. This is when the public needs to go visit them. And to the point that we just heard, it's insane that we're having a dialogue and a argument over background checks for criminals. Look, there's no way to know if someone's a criminal unless they have to have a background check. And so that should be easy for members of Congress to do if they care about public health and safety versus the blood money contributions from the unregulated gun industry. It's not the NRA.
Let me bring in Shira.
It's the Remingtons, it's the Bushmasters that pour the money into the NRA, and that's what's buying Congress.
Shira, let me bring you in. Senate Democrats have released a video. It was put out by Harry Reid, and it shows Republicans supporting gun control measures right after Newtown. Let me play it.